Have you ever heard this one? Pitching wins championships? It's one of baseball's most ancient, undeniable truths. Seriously, look at the stats. Teams entering the postseason with below-average pitching have won the World Series only 6% of the time across 117 years of history. Pitching dominance is literally the defining statistical law of the game. So the big question is, how did this happen? This isn't just some old-school feeling. This is a foundational truth that has held up for over 100 years. And get this, baseball's leadership has seen this movie before. Way back after the 1967 World Series, the pitching was so completely dominant, I'm talking about stifling performances from guys like Bob Gibson, that the league actually stepped in and lowered the pitcher's mound. They knew if the advantage swung too far to the pitcher, the game itself suffered. But the crisis we're facing today, it's not about a mound that's too high. It's not a simple environmental fix. This is a quiet, radical shift. We're dealing with a full-blown technological and ideological revolution. So what did front offices do? Driven by that absolute mandate to win, they went all in. They started investing heavily in high-tech training, biomechanics, and data precision. Essentially, they decided to reverse engineer the perfect pitch, turning the human arm into a statistical weapon. And the outcome? Pitchers are now achieving levels of velocity and movement that were, frankly, impossible just a generation ago. And what's the result of all this optimization? The pitchers in Major League Baseball right now, they are too good. And they are fundamentally wrecking the sport's traditional rhythm and statistical landscape. This isn't just about a few guys throwing hard. This is a hyper-optimized game that prioritizes the defensive certainty of the strikeout above all else. The strikeout is the new default. The ball is barely ever put in play, and frankly, the game is getting a little sterile. The question is, how did we get here? And what is the terrifying physical cost of this velocity arms race? To really get how crazy today's pitching is, we need to rewind the clock and set a proper baseline. Let's go back to what I call the ghost of pitching past. Think about the old school approach, especially during the dead ball era. That's roughly 1901 to 1919. The entire philosophy was flipped. It was all about efficiency, economy, and strategic pacing. The goal wasn't to blow batters away with triple-digit heat. No, the objective was simple: get an out in 3 pitches, save the arm, and deceive the batter. These pitchers were the original workhorses, often described as having sturdy builds, sometimes coming from backgrounds as farmers and hunters who built up their arms just through high-volume throwing. They were taught to manage their energy throughout the game. Imagine this: if they had a comfortable lead, they might literally ease up and throw a hittable pitch, saving their max effort for when they really needed a strikeout. That is absolutely wild compared to today, where every pitch, regardless of the score, is a high-intensity, max-effort blast. For most of baseball history, your starting pitcher was your innings eater, the guy expected to handle the bulk of the game's workload. Try doing that today? The modern offensive threat, where almost any hitter can knock one out of the park, means pitchers simply can't coast anymore. The ideological shift was one of survival. If you don't throw it with max velocity and max spin, it's probably getting crushed. And here's a fun technological wrinkle. We can't even compare today's fastballs to yesterday's. Before standardized systems like StatCast in 2015, early radar guns were wildly inconsistent, sometimes off by 2 miles per hour. So were those historical legends really throwing 100 miles per hour? We don't know. But we know what's happening now. Now we hit the core of the issue, the catalyst for this entire structural change, the technological revolution. Guys, pitching has officially moved past intuition and feel and become a precise data-driven engineering science known simply as pitch design. This seismic shift all started with the deployment of high-fidelity tracking systems like StatCast in games, and tools like Rapsodo and TrackMan in every training facility. These gave coaches metrics that were invisible to the naked eye, allowing them to reverse engineer the absolute ideal pitch. So who kicked off this revolution? Well, groundbreaking organizations like Driveline Baseball championed this radical biomechanical approach. They tossed out the old wisdom and brought in the nerds. They started using weighted ball programs and complex mechanical analysis to systematically squeeze every last drop of velocity and efficiency out of an arm. Their software, TRAQ, literally monitors and adjusts personalized training plans based on real, hard data. It's like having a pitching Yoda that's also an AI. At its core, this is all about the physics of movement. Pitch design focuses on manipulating key metrics to absolutely maximize two things: pitch deviation and speed. They zero in on three crucial factors. First, there's true spin rate. Think of this as the good spin. It's the spin that directly generates movement via the Magnus effect. It's the engine that makes the curveball drop off the table or the slider sweep horizontally. Second, they obsess over spin efficiency. This is basically the quality control metric for spin. For example, coaches intentionally aim for low spin efficiency on pitches like the changeup. Why? Because it allows the pitch to create that desirable falling off the table effect. It makes the pitch look fast coming out of the hand but die suddenly before it hits the plate. It's pure deception. Third, we get into the truly advanced stuff, seam shifted wake, or SSW. This is the next level of wizardry. It analyzes how the seams interact with the air to produce movement that deviates unexpectedly from the predicted path. Professional advisors often say that this single data point has completely transformed how they develop pitches. It's how you get those pitches that seem to defy gravity. All this high-tech analysis gives pitchers direct, real-time feedback. They use the Rapsodo and TrackMan data to instantly tweak their grips, their hand pressure, their release. It completely transforms pitching from an intuitive craft into a cold, hard engineering exercise. The pitcher throws with max effort and fastball intent, and the optimized grip dictates where the ball goes. Now let's look at the biggest physical evidence this lab work produced: the velocity surge. The commitment to max velocity is now absolutely league-wide, and the increase is dramatic. Just look at the fastball. The average four-seamer has jumped by a staggering 5.62%, climbing all the way from 89 miles per hour in 2002 to 94 miles per hour today. But this velocity arms race isn't just about heat. The rest of the arsenal has sprinted to keep up. The curveball velocity is up 7.33%, and the changeup has seen the biggest percentage leap at a stunning 8.05%. They have to do this. The strategic goal is to manipulate physics, maximizing pitch movement while traveling faster than ever before. This drastically reduces the time a batter has to react. We're talking about less than half a second. This calculated velocity optimization, combined with that sophisticated manipulation of spin metrics we just discussed, creates pitches that are devastatingly effective and far less likely to be mishit into the field of play. So what happens when you combine biomechanical perfection with relentless velocity? The consequence is what analysts call the statistical polarization of the game. Everything is becoming binary. It's leading us straight toward what we call the three true outcomes. What are the TTO? It's simple: a walk, a strikeout, or a home run. These are the plate appearances where the defensive fielders are basically irrelevant. Now here's a funny bit of trivia. The term actually started as a joke by writers at Baseball Prospectus to make fun of early analytical trends, but guess what? It quickly became an undeniable statistical reality. And the main engine driving this explosion of the TTO? The strikeout. The league-wide strikeout rate has been climbing relentlessly since the 1990s, transforming the K from an exceptional, pitcher-dominated feat into the absolute defensive default. It's the easiest way for pitchers to secure an out, and they are masters at it. But here's the irony: the hitters are making it worse. They've adopted their own data-driven counter strategy, the launch angle revolution. Instead of trying to make simple contact, hitters focus on an optimal combination of exit velocity and launch angle to hit a StatCast-defined barrel, which is basically guaranteed success. Why? Because analytically, fly balls and line drives generate superior offensive value compared to ground balls. The prevailing wisdom is to prioritize power over contact. This creates a vicious, self-reinforcing feedback loop. To generate enough exit velocity to hit a home run off a 98-mile-per-hour pitch, a batter has to maximize the effort in their swing, which, inevitably, dramatically increases their swing and miss tendency. The hitter's attempt to force a statistical success, a home run, feeds directly into the pitcher's statistical dominance, a strikeout. The complex strategy of balls in play, defense, and contact hitting is becoming obsolete, transforming baseball into a polarized binary power or failure contest. But this max effort model, this need to throw every pitch like it's your last, comes with profound costs, starting right with the starting pitcher himself. The physical stress of maintaining elite velocity on every single pitch is simply not sustainable over a full game. So, what did teams do? They made a radical strategic retreat. They radically cut the starter's workload. Check out this collapse in innings pitched over the decades. Back in the golden age of the workhorse, from 1950 to 1979, the average starter was pitching about 6.5 innings per start. That number dropped to 5.8 innings around the turn of the millennium. But recently, between 2020 and today, it collapsed to only 5.0 to 5.1 innings per start. That means the average starter now leaves the game 2 innings earlier than their mid-century counterpart. This shift is so complete that pulling a starter from a no-hitter after just 103 pitches, something that would have been laughable in 1988, is now standard protocol. The entire focus has completely shifted away from volume and longevity and toward pure, peak, short-term output. That 4-inning gap is filled by the highly specialized bullpen industrial complex. Relievers are deployed in ever shorter, higher-intensity bursts to maintain that high-velocity, high-spin advantage for all 9 innings. But the ultimate cost is the human arm. The extreme forces required to generate 95+ miles per hour fastballs and optimized breaking pitches put an unsustainable strain on the ulnar collateral ligament, leading to an epidemic of Tommy John surgery. Just look at the numbers. From 1974 to 1994, only 12 MLB players had Tommy John surgery. In the single year of 2012 alone, there were 36 TJ surgeries. Arms are failing quicker than ever, signaling that they're breaking down under the stress of modern training demands. We've created the most efficient pitch possible, but in doing so, we have maximized the physical cost to the human arm. The athlete is now used as a disposable asset, valued for their immediate, intense performance, regardless of long-term durability. So, are pitchers too good? The evidence says yes. Fueled by StatCast and biomechanics, modern pitching has achieved an unprecedented level of excellence, perfectly validating that old law: pitching wins championships. But here is the ultimate tragic paradox. Baseball has become a game dictated entirely by the guy on the mound. The pitcher now controls everything. The game only springs to life if the pitcher makes a mistake and misses their spot. If they execute that perfect high-spin, 95+ miles per hour pitch, the result is almost guaranteed to be a strikeout. Essentially, there is no game unless the pitcher dictates a moment of failure. This dominance has sterilized the joy and strategic depth of the sport, but it's made all the worse by the human cost. We've optimized the pitch to perfection, but we've done it by turning the human arm into a disposable asset. The epidemic of Tommy John surgeries is the physical receipt for this relentless pursuit of velocity. We created the most efficient version of baseball ever, but we did so by making it polarized, destructive, and frankly, less fun. So what do you think? Is baseball broken, or is this just natural evolution? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.